After World 4, we're on to World 5. Level 1 is Vine Valley. I really do think this is where the difficulty of the time trial starts to get really, really hard. So here, I just blast through the barrels as quickly as possible. I don't care about the damage. I'll pick up a Diddy Kong later to heal, right here. And then you can just swing here. There might be a way to bounce off one of those tikis there to go extra fast, but I couldn't figure it out. And then you can bounce and jump off quickly there to get a little bit of extra time save. Here, I don't know any way to go more quickly. You just wait for the big vine and you jump on it and swing like usual. I take damage there, roll under that big blue plant. You don't even have to grab the vine. That'll save you some time. We pick up Diddy Kong for more health. I screwed that up. Usually you can bounce off of that bird and go really quickly by sort of bouncing over to the next vine. And I think it does kind of go to show that, like, you don't have to do everything totally perfect for some of these levels. I mean, I messed up 2 or 3 times on that one, and I was still able to get the shiny gold medal, you know, at, like, almost 17 seconds under the gold time. Level 2 is Clingy Swingy. There's a few big sort of skips in this level that I found. But the idea is you don't want to be climbing. Climbing is slow. So like here, for example, I go on the top to avoid having to climb under and around. You want to do that basically as much as possible if you want the shiny gold on this level. And again, you can see just like, you don't have to play super, super clean to go fast. You know, you can damage boost through a lot. Again, we climb when we have to, but if we don't have to, we will avoid it. I probably should have just continued to roll here. Here's the big skip. If you get on top of this, you can just roll right to the other side. You don't have to wait for it to swing back and forth and grab onto the different sides to get around. You jump right over immediately. And if you can pull a few of those little skips off, you get up to the barrel here at the end, and it's not too tight. Level 3 is called Flutter Flyaway. The spiders are a little bit tricky because I think if they're dangling, you can't roll into them. I had a little bit of trouble with this level, just kind of pathing everything out. It took me a while to get. Like, I wanted to roll through all of those, but you can't quite do it. And then here it's just, you know, you gotta make some tight jumps because you get onto these little platforms quickly. But if you can do it, you'll be okay. And then here, you're just trying to skip as much as possible. You can fall down here pretty quickly. And then I screwed this up. I almost lost the shiny gold because I kept landing on those platforms as they spun around. But luckily I was able to do it quick enough at the very end. 5-4 is Tippin Totems. This is, I think, the hardest time trial in the game. to get the shiny gold on. It's just really, really tight. You got to do this bat jump here, so that's important because that helps you go really fast. And you have to get to that totem, that first totem that pops up, before it gets to the end. So you have to kind of be on cycle. At this point here, I like to jump in twos and then do a bounce. And then you can bounce off the hippo or the bat there to get up quickly. And then the real crazy part is here. So you have to do this sort of extended bat jump coming up right here. If you just jump on the first bat at full speed, and then you don't hold the jump button, you just do the little hops and you keep holding right, you'll actually bounce off of all of the bats pretty easily. So you just got to get the setup right, and then you can just hold right and you'll bounce nicely off of all of the bats and skip that climbing section that you have to do. This level is really hard. It's going to take some practice if you want to do it. Next up is Longshot Launch. This is another one of those cannon levels, so it's really just about doing everything on an early cycle. So there's a lot of sections where like you could wait to be safe, but you gotta kind of do the unsafe thing. So you're just launching as fast as possible, getting everything on the first cycle. First cycle, first cycle, first cycle. You know, you don't have time to wait. And then here coming up is where it gets a bit tricky. This section you want to try to get through quickly. And then right here is tough, because you got to get through both of those before they close. It really is just a matter of executing the tight timings on the barrel shots. Because once you get into the barrels, there's not much you can do to go quickly other than tap the button, right? There's not like a lot of jumps or anything. Springy Spores is next. I don't remember this level being too bad. Damage boost there, so you can avoid the vine swinging to go quickly. I like to jump off that tiki so I can get up to that next spore as fast as possible. Diddy Kong helps a lot here. You can do those sort of short hops and then use his jetpack to kind of carry you to where you need to be. And then you're roll jumping there. I don't know if this is the fastest way to do this section, but it worked for me. Bouncing off of the tikis is very helpful, so that you can get up to the next spore more quickly than you normally would be able to. Five 7 is called Wigglevine Wonders. I remember this level being pretty tough as well. The main reason is because I wasn't doing a certain strategy correctly, which I should be able to show here when it comes up. Because for a lot of this level, you're just riding the Wigglevines. You're not doing anything special, right? It's almost like a minecart level or a rocket level in that regard, but there's a lot more of those sections outside of riding the Wigglevines that make it tricky. So right here, yes, that's the big one. If you pound through that wood, you can get into that barrel, which will shoot you across, and it saves a ton of time. I tried for so long without using that technique to get the shiny gold, and I couldn't do it. But once you start using that barrel to kind of bypass that big long vine at that section earlier, the level's not actually too bad. You just gotta kind of know it's there. And it was tricky for me because I did the time trials before I did all of the collecting bits. Like before I got the puzzle pieces and the Kong coins. And so I didn't know it was there for a while. And then if you were fast enough when you get to this section, you don't have to rush it. Just make sure you get into that barrel instead of missing the jump, because Donkey Kong doesn't go quite as far as you think he will. And that's that for 5-7 Wigglevine Wonders. Level 5-8 is called Muncher Marathon. This level has some tricky bits, but it's not the worst. You kind of have to go fast because the Munchers chase you, but you just got to go extra fast if you want that shiny gold. The idea here is to just kind of try to learn where you can roll and where you can't. You know, so you always want to be rolling with Diddy Kong. So coming up here, for example, you're going to roll under and jump. That'll save time. I was never able to go fast enough to get through on that first cycle with those pillars that go up and down, but it didn't seem to matter, I guess. You're going to damage boost here, so you don't have to do any of the climbing. And then roll as much as you can through the gate here. And I thought I was able to roll onto that spider, but that didn't work, I guess. And then once you get to the end, you just blast through these as fast as possible. Nothing's going to hurt you. There's nothing that's going to stop you. You just go, go, go. And if you were fast enough, you'll get the shiny gold on 5-8. So now we're on 5B. This is the boss of World 5. This is Mangoruby Run. This boss is a tad tricky, so the idea is that for each of these spinning circles, you have to hit the blue mark, or you gotta pound on it, and turn it yellow. And once you turn all of them yellow, then you can hurt the boss, because all of those electric bits, like on his tail, those will go out. And the reason this is tricky is because you can hit all of those markers really fast, but the boss, I think, moves kind of semi-randomly, so he's not always in a good position for you to hit him after he, like, de-electrifies. And so I got lucky there, for example. He was right there when the electricity went away, but he isn't always. So this is one where there's a little bit of trial and error and figuring out good strategies, but also just getting like a little bit lucky. Like again, he's right there when I hit the last one, and I was able to go really fast. As always, once you get the final hit on the boss, you don't have to worry about going fast anymore. The timer will completely stop and wait for you to hit the boss Tiki. And so now we're on the last level of World 5. This is the 5K level, the one that you get after collecting all of the Kong tokens in this world. This is called Blast and Bounce. This is another cannon level. And so as always with these levels, you're going to want to get everything on the earliest cycle you possibly can. So here, for example, it's just holding right as much as possible. And then if you ever want to stop and pause for just half a second so you don't take too much damage and get yourself killed, there's no worries on that. You won't lose too much time. And then on this section with the vertically blasting barrels, you basically want to shoot as quickly as possible without taking damage. I like to shoot as the little enemy passes over me. And then once you get through that, it's just going to be one cycling as much as you possibly can. Now, I don't pull that off here, so evidently the time constraint isn't too tight, but here you definitely want to blast as soon as possible. So I skip one, but then after I skip the first one, I get one cycle on everything else. And so all things considered, like, the time constraints aren't too tight. I mean, you can even see in the run that I did, I definitely didn't get everything on the first cycle. And so I could have went quite a bit faster. And so if you did all of that, you too will have shiny gold medals on all of the World 5 levels in Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe because it helps the channel a lot. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Until next time.